Hi everyone, welcome to Tripp Advisor. It's time for another Theology Thursday video with me, your host, Jason Tripp. In upcoming weeks here on Theology Thursday videos, I'll be unpacking and interacting with a new book I was excited to get my hands on earlier this summer. Here it is. It's called Open and Relational Theology, subtitle An Introduction to Life-Changing Ideas by Jay Oord. For those of you unfamiliar with the author, Jay Oord, Dr. Oord is a theologian, he's a philosopher, he's a scholar of multidisciplinary studies, and he also directs studies at Northwind Theological Seminary and the Center for Open and Relational Theology, and he's an award-winning author and editor of more than 25 books. Of course, you might be asking, why of all the books which you could choose to interact with here on the channel, why are you choosing this one? It's a good question. For those of you unfamiliar with my Theology Thursday videos here at Tripp Advisor, the overarching goal is to provide a safe and engaging space where individuals and groups can freely interact with the big questions of life, the big theological and philosophical questions of life and faith. I'm a pastor of a church in the Wesleyan tradition where both Dr. Oord and I hang our hats. I'm also someone full of curiosities, questions, and some honest doubts. This channel is about openly and honestly questioning and exploring the assumptions that you and I may have been given about who God is, how God relates to creation, and by extension, how we should relate to both Creator and creation. The image of a house renovation project, that's been the primary metaphor that we use here to express the journey of deconstruction and reconstruction. We've discussed in previous videos the twofold foundation I and many others are building or rebuilding upon. Those two foundations being, one, God is love, and secondly, God is like Jesus. Upon this sturdy foundation, we can now build a framework with individual rooms in our theological house, analogous to different aspects of theology and philosophy. For the better part of the last 2 decades, I've been doing some deconstructing and reconstructing of my own theological house. Like Dr. Oord and countless others, the theological framework in which I've been reconstructing is an open and relational framework. A way of seeing and experiencing God and all of God's creation, which I believe is consistent with and builds nicely upon our twofold foundation of a loving God who is like Jesus. It's somewhat ironic that this house building metaphor is the one we've been using here. The reality is, I'm not much of a handyman at all. But between owning my own house and working in a multi-purpose church facility that is often in need of some TLC, I find myself often using various tools to construct, repair, or replace parts of those facilities. And as I was reading and listening to this book from Dr. Oord, I was struck at how this book is both full of profound wisdom, but also that it is written in a manner that is not overly technical, but quite engaging and easy to understand. Essentially, we can think of this book as sort of a primer, helping us identify which tools to use, when and how to use them, and which rooms in the theological house we have built or inherited that need some touch-up work, and which ones need a massive overhaul. At first glance, you may roll your eyes at the presumptuous and seemingly hyperbolic subtitle of the book, An Introduction to Life-Changing Ideas. Life-changing? Really? Now note that the title does not say life-giving, but rather life-changing. Books aren't essentially life-giving, not even the Bible. More on that as we move forward together through the book. Only God, the source of all life, can be life-giving. But the ways in which we image, experience, and engage with God in creation can certainly be life-altering, to say the least. As someone whose life and relationship with God and the world has been changed for the better since reconstructing an open and relational theological house, I'm very excited that this book has been written. I do think it will indeed be life-changing for many. And I want to extend an invitation to you to join me for the next few weeks as we interact with the book together. With permission from Dr. Oord, I'd simply like to read the preface of the book today to kind of whet your appetite, and I look forward to taking this journey with you together. If you're interested in grabbing a physical, digital, or an audio copy of the book, you can do so on Amazon or any other online book distributor. And one final thing before I read the preface. Given the book is written in a non-technical way for a popular audience, from here on out, we'll simply address Dr. Oord as Tom. I think he'd prefer that. So here's the brief preface to the book. People across the globe are discovering open and relational theology. The paths leading to this perspective are diverse, and its ideas help many make sense of God, their lives, and our beautiful but sometimes painful world. This book introduces those ideas. Scholars have explored and promoted the ideas in open and relational theology for decades. Some write books so technical only experts understand them. Others write at a level understood only by graduate students or theology enthusiasts. This book is different. I write, Tom says, so that most adults can understand. My goal is to inform and stimulate creative thinking about what matters most. Some ideas in this book will strike you as radical, unsettling, even mind-blowing. They'll expand your awareness and change your life. I recommend early morning or midnight walks to process them. You'll have a lot to think about. When most people encounter this theology, they respond, "Finally, something that makes sense." These ideas align with our deepest intuitions and everyday experiences. They match Scripture well, although we must abandon some interpretations people have offered. Other people take longer to warm up to these concepts, but eventually see their winsomeness and wisdom. New ideas upset the same old, same old. Those who want the status quo find open and relational concepts threatening. I'm among many, Tom writes, forced out of faith communities, leadership roles, or teaching positions for embracing these ideas. A few even scream, "Heretics!" at me and others who accept open and relational thinking. Most who play the heresy card don't know what it means or how heresy charges are rightly decided. I recommend focusing attention on what actually matters. We're better off to flee the dogma police than let traditional nonsense keep us from living and thinking well. A warning. I sometimes write about horrific experiences like rape, death, and torture. I do so because those are realities in the world. Many books that talk about God ignore the horrors and heartache of life, presenting life as serene and rosy, parroting pat answers too. Ignoring life's pain comes at a cost. Irrelevance. Theology worth embracing must account for beauty and evil, warm fuzzies and intense suffering. But addressing these horrors can trigger some readers, so I offer this warning. Introductory books can't cover every topic or go into depth. I encourage readers to explore other open and relational writings. At the conclusion of this book, I offer an abbreviated list of writings and authors published in the last 30 years. I call it Going Deeper. I also encourage you to explore the resources at the Center for Open and Relational Theology, www.c4ort.com. Sign up for the monthly newsletter while you're on the website and consider adding your voice to the People section. Other fine organizations promote open and relational ideas too, and you'll find links to them on the Center site. This book can't say everything. It lays out essential ideas in clear and provocative ways. Even the basics of open and relational theology breathe new life into our quest to understand God, make sense of existence, and live well together. Get ready for an adventure. And so that's the preface to this short, easy to read, but full of rich wisdom, Open and Relational Theology, an introduction to life-changing ideas. And I want to invite you, or perhaps gather with some friends, pick up a copy of the book. The audiobook is excellent as well. I listened to it while driving and hiking, and I've also read the print copy here. I think you'll enjoy this interaction. I want to invite you to track along with me here at the channel in upcoming weeks. We'll take a look at one chapter each week. I'll share little snippets from each chapter and discuss some of the themes and my thoughts on the themes in the book. And so thank you for taking time to join me today here at Tripp on this Theology Thursday. If you'd like to, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. You can hit the like button and the notification bell and get notified whenever I publish a new Theology Thursday video. I also discuss a couple of other passions and hobbies of mine. On the occasional Tuesday, I will drop a Tabletop Tuesday board game review tutorial. And on Fridays, occasionally, I'll publish some Film Friday reviews discussing the world of cinema. And so I'm Jason Tripp, this is Tripp Advisor, and I'm excited to invite you to join me on this journey into open and relational theology together. We'll see you down the road.